Brands have started to use video and video platforms in new and exciting ways, and ways that are not necessarily brand safe. Today we are talking about the video platform TikTok and how you can use it to grow your company and make more sales. My name is David Irwin. I run a small marketing firm out of Toronto called Puca Puca. And so I have a little bit of experience with this. The first step, and a lot of this information was sort of correlated by the team over at Forbes, the Forbes Agency Council. So if you want to sort of leverage video apps, and those video apps will change, the sort of steps that you take will change depending on the audience that you want to reach. So for instance, the audience on Reels is a little bit more mature, but they're a little bit less experimental with the stuff that they do on app. Whereas this information is more about TikTok and how you can use that to make sales and sort of sell your business. So the very first thing about TikTok is that the large app user base is quite young. So while they may not have a whole lot of buying power for large expenses, they do have a whole lot of buying power for smaller expenses. So they're not buying new Lamborghinis and the latest BMWs, but they may be buying things like bean bags and apparel and sort of things like that. So when you want to reach that audience, you have to entertain them, right? So the first step is to entertain before you sell. That means you have to bring something unique, either product-based or get involved in the community in some way. When it comes to that kind of thing, there are multiple strategies that you can take, obviously. You'll want to leverage maybe some influencers and some branded hashtags. So that'll mean challenges, getting involved in community music. If something is hot on the app, it's probably a good idea for you to start tagging that so that other people can see you when they have followed those hashtags. When you're actually creating the content, you want to drive an emotional connection to your brand, your channel, as well as your, the products that you happen to be highlighting. A great example of this was years ago when the Will It Blend guys. Now, I spoke about this previously with someone on Racket, and I can't remember their but it was Matt from Racket. And we spoke about how that brand kind of stuck with millennials. We remember the Will It Blend videos on YouTube from 11 years ago, and that has stuck with us. Even if we've never bought that blender, when we go to buy a blender, we're like, oh, remember when that happened? I wonder if this is the brand that was used in that. When it comes to a more corporate side, there's a lot of bad hacks on TikTok, right? So hack videos, and that's led to a lot of hack debunking videos as well. So leveraging that kind of thing is a good way to get involved in the community. Give practical advice in short form. So instead of making it totally branded terrible hacks, maybe duet a terrible hack with good advice and real steps people can take. When it comes to that kind of thing, like real steps, it's important to have authenticity. So when you want to entertain, you can be entertaining, but remember, you have to be authentic to who you are. If you're not a fun, happy, dancey, fun time brand, don't pretend to be that. Speak to who you are and speak to your authority. When I say that, and I've said it before, like get involved in the trends, duet people, use the latest music that's going through the platform. TikTok has been, and sounds, and that's something we can get into TikTok branding and what the language of TikTok is on another Racket, and that's important. But it's important to follow trends on the platform because that is what the user base is doing. And it allows you to be timely and relevant. The way that you do that is by consuming content. Now, I have a strategy for this. I spend about 30 minutes on app because it's so easy to doom scroll on that app. So I spend about 30 minutes per day on that app just looking at the latest stuff so that I know in the next week what I want to sort of go in and create, ask people, get involved in duets, reach out to influencers, or not even influencers, just other users on the app who happen to be in the base of my clients to ask them what they thought of this, our latest stuff, and, get involved in user produced content. Maybe it's paid for, maybe it's not. We're just, hey, this is a cool viral trend that's happening. We've used our products in this way. You may want to get involved in that. Now, that leads you to the creator community, which is incredibly strong and incredibly creative over on TikTok, which is comparable to, say, Reels. It's an older base. It tends to be less creative, less experimental. So get involved in the community, creative community over there, and get them to help you with spreading the word. And you're going to be spreading their word as well, right? They want to grow as well, just like your brand. You can kind of leverage that to help each other. And what you want to help each other do is tell a story. So you might have what you think is a boring corporate story, but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't resonate with someone on the app. Be honest about where you come from. Go back to that authenticity. Say why you started the actual business itself, why your brand exists, who you serve, and why it's important to those individuals. And you will reach them. This app is not slowing down. And pretty soon everybody will kind of be on it. So they're my final thoughts. Get involved in the community, tell a story, an authentic story, and utilize trends to tell that story. This will mean that you can be both creative and be involved in the community itself. TikTok and their user base, Gen Z, are very tech savvy, very media savvy. So they're going to know when you are lying. You just have to look at things like the recent industry plant controversy that happened with, they were like a remake of Pussy Riot. What were they called? I can't remember the name of them. I'll put it in another Racket, or whenever we get show notes, I'll come back through and I'll put it in. But just look, industry plant TikTok, and you'll see what I mean. So those are kind of the steps that you can take to complete some brand marketing on TikTok. It's going to take time to get it right. You have to spend a bit of time interacting with the community, but if you do, it will pay off because the reach that app has is incredible. I'm Dave Irwin at Dave Gets Social everywhere online.